This conference will now be recorded.
Hi everyone, good evening. Welcome to Amazon Web Services. So today we are going to discuss what is a key pair and what is security groups and how to create key pair and how to create a security group. And mainly two important things in the today lecture. One is network interface and second one is elastic IP address. So overall, this is the what today concepts. Right. So let me explain first. What is a key pair? Okay, key pair means ACT uses public key cryptography to encrypt and decrypt login information. Public key cryptography uses to encrypt a piece of data. The recipient uses the private key to decrypt the data. And the public key and private keys are known as key pair. Right. So what I'm saying here, the combination of public and private key is nothing but key pair. So these key pair contains encrypted data. This key pair contains encrypted data. So what is the purpose? We need to create a key pair for login EC2 instances. So generally AWS don't provide any password for the instances. So the password login information is your key pair. So the key pair contains encrypted information. That encrypted information you will decrypt and find check in the word password and log in the word instances. But here the key pair contains two values. One is public key, another one is private key. But end user like you and me uses private key only, and AWS maintains public key. So this combination is key pair. The public and private key combination is key pair. Then,
Sir, voice is disturbing, sir.
now it's okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Right. So how to create a key pair? So generally two ways creating a key pair. What are the two ways? While launching instance, you will make it a create, you will make it a key pair, or first you can create your custom key pair and launching instance you can attach it. I mean you can select it. So now I will show you how to create a key pair. Right. How to create a key pair? Here, for creating key pair, you can use putty. So Puttigen is a tool. I told you in the last lecture. It saves public and private keys. Then first open Puttigen. Then you have any key pair with the PM formats or PPK formats, then we'll load it. Otherwise, to create your new key pair, then use generate is the option. So click on generate. So while generating key pair, the cursor should be moving on the prompt of putty key generator. See, even we are moving the word outside of the prompt, it's not working. But even on the putty key generator prompt, even it's not working. So you must moving the word cursor, then only it will create. See, right? The key pair successfully created. Right, the key pair successfully created. Now this encrypted key saves with public and private. So now I will save the word past public key, the same key save with public and save with private. So first save public key. Then I want to save on my downloads. Okay, what is the key? It is a my key, like it is a public extension. So this is the word my key public. Then save it. Now the same key saves with private. Then save private key. Then yes. What is the key name? Again, it is a my key. It is a private. Then save it. Right. So both keys are successfully created. Just verify the downloads. What are the key names? My key public and my key private. So two keys are ready.
Sir, one
Then
doubt,
you can
sir.
go.
Here we generated a key pair, so do we have any name for this while we select for any such?
No. You can give it any name, ABC, XYZ, or anything.
Okay. So how? Please go ahead, sir. I'll ask her later.
Okay.
Oh.
Right. So now your keys are ready. The keys are public and private. Then the second important thing, when connecting instance, you must use this private key. But the backend instances maintain public key. So then how can you upload this public key into Amazon account? Because the end user, I mean, you use the word private key only, but how AWS uses public key? So you can upload, you can export this public key into AWS. Otherwise, you can import from the AWS account. So how can you export this public key into AWS account? So now here the option is under network and security, key pairs. Already we have one key. In the last lecture we have been created with name online. So now even this is the option to create a new key pair. Okay, now I want to upload the key. Otherwise you can import the key from the account. How to import it? Under access, import key pair. Then import key pair. The key pair name is my key. Then browse your key. What is the key we need to upload? Only public key. So AWS maintained public key. So under downloads, select all files. That is what? My key public. Then upload it. Then this is called what? Encrypted data. Then import key pair. Now the key pair is ready. So this key, the backend my key is the word key. While launching instances, you can select the word my key. So this key opposite private key in your laptop only. So that's why you will keep it the word private key in your laptop. So where is the private key? Under my downloads, my key is the word private key, but have been uploaded my key public. Okay, this combination is what? Key pair. AWS uses public key and you uses the word private key. The public and private key combination is key pair. This is the word one method. Like it is called what? Creating custom key pair. Then second one is, what is a security group? What is security group? Security groups are act as a virtual firewall for controlling traffic at the instance level. So remember this point. Security groups are act as a virtual firewalls. So security groups are virtual firewalls. That firewall responsibility is what? Controlling traffic at the instance level. So I mean the security groups are protect instances. It contains a set of rules that filter traffic coming inbound and outbound of an EC2 instance. So every security group contains two rules. One is inbound rule, another one is outbound rule. So for example, the traffic goes to in and out. What is mean? For example, you have a room, so only one door. So you enter inside, that is called what, inbound. You come out from the room, that is called what, outbound. Like inside and outside, that is called what, every security group contains two rules. One is for inbound, another one is for outbound. But security groups are support only allow rules. I mean, you can modify and attach the rules only in inbound, and don't use the word no need to attach the rules inside the word outbound, because by default outbound traffic is allowed, but every inbound rule is what, deny only. So that's why you can attach the rules like port numbers. For port numbers, you want to connect instance of Linux SSH, you need to add the port 22 in the inbound. Maybe your instance is Windows, the port 3389 for RDP in the inbound. Like you need to edit inbound rules only, but by default outbound traffic is allowed. So please read the word security groups, because this is an important while going to interview. So they're asking the question, what is meant by security group?
Sir, doubt.
Hmm.
So, I mean, the security groups may be different platforms that we use.
No, security groups are protect instances.
Okay.
Instances ni protect చేస్తాయి. So every security group protect instances only. But how to protect instances? With help of port numbers. So by default all ports are denied. So you want to connect instance, open the port number 22. You want to connect web server, open the port 80. You want to connect the what, ping request, then open the ICMP rule. So you want to connect HTTPS, open the 443 port. So you want to connect the FTP, open the port 2021 like that. I mean, by default, all ports are denied. You want to connect any particular service, you must open the port inside the security group.
Okay.
Right. So how to create a custom security groups? Now I'll show you, see this. So this is also possible while launching instance. You can create a what, a security group, or you can create first one custom security group with required port numbers, then launch the instance and custom keeper or custom security group. Please keep in mute. Right. So how to create a custom security group? Now here see. Again, under network and security groups. Right. I want to create a security group. This is the what, create security group option. What is the security group name? Okay, for example, web security group. So I mean, my requirement is, so this security group attached to EC2 Linux instance. So that's why I will add the port number 22. I will add the port number 80 like that. Otherwise, this security group is used for every instance. Then you can add the what, the port numbers what are required. You can attach it. Okay. For example, web security group. So web security means web server security groups. Then next, here inbound rules and outbound rules. Every security group contains inbound rules and outbound rules. But by default, outbound rules all traffic are allowed. See that all traffic are allowed. So that's why no need to add the port numbers in the one outbound. But you must add the what, rules of inbound. So how to add the inbound rules? Like add rule. Which rule you want to connect? For example, I want SSH port number SSH 22. Then anywhere address. Then I want to add the port number HTTP. So right now I need these two port numbers only. So that's why I attach only two ports. Like you need any another port number for the security group, then attach it. So you can add multiple port numbers here. Okay, right now I need two ports, 22 and 80. So that's why I associated with 22 and 80. And then create security group. So now the security group successfully created with port 22 and 80. So this is the way to creating security groups and key pairs. Now I will launch the instance on these two security groups. So now instances, launch instances. Okay, the instance name is, for example, this is the what? Linux instance. Which Linux you want to launch? Okay, I want Amazon Linux, for example, Amazon Linux. And then in the Amazon Linux, instance type is t2.micro, that is free tier eligible, 1 CPU, 1 GB RAM. Now here you can select the what, your custom key pair and security group. See that the key pair. So already we have two key pairs here, online and MyKey. So now I want to launch this instance on MyKey. So we are testing MyKey is working or not. Okay, then even you can test about the existing security group. So no need to create your security group. I will select directly my required security group. What is that? So that is web security group. So now this instance running with port 22 and 80. Then finally launch instances. Perfect. So now the instance successfully created. So now I will connect this instance, then perfectly we are tested. So is it working or not? The port 22 and 80 and also keep it. Just wait few seconds until finish this process. Okay, now I will test it. I mean, connect the instance and test it. So take the public IP, put it, okay, authentication, browse it. Then we are using private. Perfect. So now the username is EC2 user. Right, perfect. Then we'll go for sudo -i for this open user. Then you want to update the server, update. Okay, everything is fine. So this is the way you can use the word custom key pair into custom security groups. Then the next important thing, what is network interfaces? Okay, what is a network interface? So this is also important in the environment. So elastic network interface is a logical networking component that represents a virtual network card. So each instance has a default network interface called the primary network interface. You can create and attach additional network interfaces only. Right. So NIC card, generally the network interfaces, another name is NIC card, NIC card. So network interface card, but here ENI means elastic network interfaces. Okay, every network interface have one logical IP address. So one public IP, one private IP address. So what is the default network interface name in the Linux, for example? So this is the what my Linux operating system. How to check the network interface? If you run ifconfig command, so generally ifconfig is the command to check the what IP address. Okay, so this system IP address is 172.31.84.60. This is the what IP for this system. But this IP address associated with one network interface, which is called what? ETH0. This is the what? Network interface card. So in Linux, the interface name is ETH0, Ethernet 0. So you want to attach one more network interface for this instance, then we will use the word elastic network interface. But you can attach and detach additional network interfaces only, but we cannot detach and delete primary network interface. So by default, the primary network interface name is ETH0, Ethernet 0. So even you detach this primary network interface, then how can you connect this instance? So that's why the primary network interface detachment is not possible. Then how to create additional network interfaces, then how to attach to instance. That is the second important thing. So when the company, like when the project recommends, when the instance recommends 2 or more network interface cards, then how to create and attach to instance. That is my process. Okay, so now let me create additional network interface. So first, under the field of network interfaces. So network
Sir, I have a doubt.
interfaces. Yeah.
సో ఇప్పుడు నెట్వర్క్ ఇంటర్ఫేస్ ఇప్పుడు మీరు ఏదైతే చెప్తున్నారో ఒక సే ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ ఒక ఆర్గనైజేషన్ కు ఒక నెట్వర్కే ఉంటుంది కదా లైక్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ ఎట్లా అని చెప్పాలా
దట్ ఈస్ ఏ డిఫరెంట్ నో మీరు అడిగేది నెట్వర్క్ అనేది ఒకటి కాదండి సో నెట్వర్క్ ఇంటర్ఫేసెస్ మీన్స్ ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ యూ హ్యావ్ ఎన్ వన్ డెస్క్టాప్ సార్ యూ హ్యావ్ ఏ వన్ డెస్క్టాప్ ఓకే సో that desktop running with one IP address.
Yeah.
Okay, you want one more IP for that desktop.
Okay.
Then what to do? You can purchase network interface card. That card attached to your desktop. Then that desktop running with two IP addresses.
Sir, okay. I got it. ఇప్పుడు రియల్ టైమ్ సినారియోలో లైక్ ఎక్కడ రిక్వైర్మెంట్ ఉంటుంది?
Yeah, for example, we need the what Ethernet bonding. For example, bonding means one interface running with 10 Mbps speed. Okay, that speed is not sufficient for you. You want more speed. Then we can attach one more network interface. Then you can bond the what two interfaces. Then 10 plus 10, the speed will increase the what 20. That is the one process. And even for high availability, for example, your system running with one interface, maybe that interface is down, then your network unreachable. Then what is the advantage? If you add one more network interface, then the traffic is distributed to two interfaces.
ఓకే ఒక రియల్ టైమ్ లో ఇప్పుడు డిఆర్ సర్వర్ అన్నట్టు ప్రైమరీ డిఆర్
యా బాబు సంతోష్ మీరు మ్యూట్ లో పెట్టాలమ్మా. రైట్. సో
రియల్ టైమ్ ప్రాజెక్ట్స్ లో ఇప్పుడు డిఆర్ సర్వర్ అంటారు, ప్రైమరీ సర్వర్ డిఆర్ బ్యాకప్ ఉంటుంది సార్. సో ఎగ్జాంపుల్ కరెక్టేనా నేను చెప్పేది? అప్పుడు డిఆర్ సర్వర్
it is called what for bonding sir. అంటే multiple interfaces ని combine చేసి single interface లో చేయడం. What is the advantage means like even one interface is down, the traffic goes to second interface. That is also one advantage. Otherwise your system running with two applications, one application running with one IP, another application running with another IP. You can do it like that.
Okay sir, thank you.
Right. So now how to create a network interfaces. So here network interfaces, create network interface. Then the description is, and like my test interface. Okay, then where to create this test interface? So first you have to check which instance you want to attach for this interface. I mean this interface attached to which instance. So now already my instance is running. The instance is running in the availability zone of US East 1C. So your interface, the additional interfaces also you should be connected to, you should be create under US East 1C only. So that's why the interface name this is, I will make it the what, US East 1C only, and don't create 1F 1G like that. So where exactly the instance is running, I mean which network interface, which instances, like how did you say? Okay, the instance and interfaces both are running in the what, same zone. That is the good idea.
Zone.
Zone. The same zone is recommended. So now instance is running US East 1C. That's why I selected here US East 1C. Then that interface attached to which IP address? Okay, the IP will collect automatically from the network. That's why it is about auto assign IP address. Then through this interface, which ports are enabled? Okay, this interface running with web security group, even this is interface running with port 22 and 80, because the web server already running with port 22 and 80, and even this interface running with port 22 and 80. Then create network interface. Right, I successfully created network interface. The interface name is my network, my test interface. Okay, when the interface is created, then the status is available. When the status is in use, already that interface attached to instance. When the interface state is available, this interface is not attached to any instance. That is the meaning. Now this interface is available. So I want to attach this interface to instance. So which instance? Like select the interface, accents, attach. So now here just select the instance. Okay, I want to attach to Linux instance. Then attach it. Now this interface attached to my Linux instance. Now what is the state of this instance? Now both are what, in use. Then go to your instance. Okay, my instance is disconnected. Then if I check if config, so how many interfaces are running now? The additional interface ETH1 is running. So this interface running with this IP address. So the first primary interface running with this IP address. Now this virtual server running with two network interfaces, I mean two IP addresses. This is called what? Interface. Even you want one more interface, same way you can attach and detach. But the interview question is, so is it possible to detach the primary network interface? No, because we cannot detach any primary network interface. Then they are asking why it's not detached to primary network interface. Even if you detach the primary network interface, then how can you connect the instance? So that's why we cannot detach the what? Primary network interface. Now, so
Sir,
how
one doubt. So we use more network interfaces to handle multiple applications in instance. Is it correct? Okay, sir.
Right.
Got it. Yes, sir.
Right. So now how to detach the network interface? Again, select the interface, accents, and detach it. Detach the what? Network interface. Then detach it. So my network interface successfully detached. But try to detach the primary network interface. So now in the accents, detach of the primary network interface. So error. the network interface at device index 0 and network card index 0 cannot be detached. So we cannot detach the what? Primary network interfaces. We can detach only additional interfaces.
Sir, when we have multiple, can we detach the primary one?
At a time చేసుకోవచ్చు. Primary అంటే అర్థం ఏంటి? ఒకటేనే అర్థం.
Yes, sir. Okay. Got it, sir. Thank you.
Right. So now I will delete the what? My network interface accents deleted. So now we have only one network interface. So that is called what? Network interfaces. And now the one more important, which is elastic IP address. This is also important. And EIP, elastic IP address, is a static IPv4 address designed for dynamic cloud computing. So attaching an EIP to an instance will replace its default public IP address for as long as it is attached. So what I'm saying here, what they are saying, by default, every instance have one public IP address, which is called dynamic. Dynamic means the IP will change every shutdown and start. I mean, every shutdown and restart, you will get the one different IP address every time. So for example, I have one running instance, just assume. So this server is maybe web server. Maybe this server is web server. This instance running with what? One app application. Even this instance associated with one public IP address. Okay, this web server running with this IP address. Okay, if I stop this instance, okay, my instance has been stopped. So again, if I start it, so now we don't have any IP address here. So again, if I start this instance, the instance will get the what? Different IP address again, but you will not get the what? Same IP address, because by default, every instance have one public dynamic IP address only. That dynamic IP address is not fixed IP address. But sir, I want to set one fixed elastic IP address for the instance. Even if I shut down my system or restart the system, again I will get the same IP address. Otherwise, my customer is shouting, why need to change IP address every time? So how can you set the word fixed IP address? That is called what? Elastic IP address. The simple statement, what is elastic IP? A static IP address for dynamic cloud computing. A static IP address for the dynamic cloud computing. By default, instance have dynamic IP. Then how to get a static? Then we'll go for the what? Elastic IP. Then that elastic IP replaced with what? This public IP address. But by default, you can create 5 elastic IP addresses. Okay, how to create elastic IP? Even elastic IP addresses are chargeable, but once you create, then immediately to delete it. So now elastic IPs. And allocate elastic IP. Then no need to select any other things. Directly allocate. I mean, grab the IP address. Yes, the IP is successfully created, which is 18.210.115.252. 252 is the what IP address. This IP address attached to my instance, that is associated elastic IP address. So this IP address attached to even for the instance and network interface. So I want to attach for the instance. Which instance? It is called what? Linux running instance. Then this instance already running IP address is this is. Then associate. Now this 115.255 IP address is replaced with existing public IP. So now 115.255 is the what IP address for the instance. So now this IP address is fixed. We cannot change until you delete and detach. Okay, now even you can stop the instance and you can start the instance. This IP address is fixed until you will detach the what? Instance. Right. So now I want to delete the what elastic IP address because this is a chargeable. Then what to do? In the actions, dissociate elastic IP address. So directly we cannot delete. First dissociate means detach. Then you can release it. Release means what? Delete from the account. Then what about instance state? The instance will get the what? Definite IP. Now this is the elastic IP. Refresh it. The instance will get the what? Definite IP. Okay. So this is called what? Elastic IP concept. Are you clear?
Yes, sir, clear.
What about remaining?
Yes, sir.
Hello, sir. I have to see this video again, sir.
Okay. Then next, the one more important thing in the AWS, the concept name is bootstrapping. What is the concept name? Bootstrap. This is also important for experienced people. So what is the bootstrap? Okay, so bootstrapping or user data, So what is mean by bootstrapping? Run commands on your Linux instance at launching. So I mean, every time you have been executed commands after connecting instance, correct? So first you successfully created one instance, then connect the instance and run the commands only. But sir, is it possible to run that commands while launching instance? Yes. So while launching instance, if you execute any commands, then it is called what? Bootstrapping. So bootstrapping means run commands on your Linux instance at launching. So refers to a self-static processor set of commands without external input. So no need to give any external input. Directly you can run the commands while launching instance. Then what is the advantage when to use this bootstrapping? Okay, sir, I want to 10 web servers. Then why need to launch 10 web servers one by one? Again, why need to connect each and every instance? Okay, again connect and run the web server commands. Again connect one more instance, run the web server. Okay, at a time to launch 10 web servers and execute this all commands on 10 web servers even at a time. That is for what? Installing any packages or number of instances. You want to run any updates or number of instances, or you want to change configuration settings on the instances at a time. Then we'll use the what? Bootstrapping. Okay, but where to execute bootstrapping? Generally, bootstrapping means run commands on your instance at launching. Remember, this bootstrapping not for Windows, bootstrapping for Linux instances. So while launching instance, you can run the what? Commands. So generally, the people are calling user data. Okay, so now I will show you where to execute bootstrapping. Okay, now see. So where to execute bootstrapping? First, launch instances. Okay, my instance name is, for example, web servers. Okay, I need number of web servers. So now here we will say how many servers you want. I want 10 servers, like that. I want 100 servers, like this. I want like 20 servers, like this. So number of servers. Okay, for testing I need one server. Then which server you want to launch? Amazon Linux. Okay, this is only OS and remaining steps are common. Then key pair. So this instance running with my key. and then the security group would be web server security group with port 22 and 80. So that's why I selected web security group. Same steps what are done in the previous. Then what are the extra steps here? Under advanced details, go to last line, I mean end of the page, you have an option user data. So here we can write the what user data. I mean this is the script or commands. Okay, I want to execute some commands on this web server. Okay, what are the commands? Remember everyone, in the first line of the script or commands, you must execute /bin/bash. So what is this first line? Generally it is a shebang line, shebang line, or command interpreter line. Otherwise it is a shell login path. Because in Linux every command will be executed by bash shell. So that's why what is the bash shell path in the Linux? /bin/bash is the path. Then in the second line, generally people what to do, they are starting with hash, as only it is a single line comment. So single line comment means, okay, now we are installing Apache HTTPD web server. We are installing Apache HTTPD web server. But remember everyone, even the first line also starts with hash. But when the line starts with hash along with exclamation, then it is a interpreter line, shebang line. But only line starts with hash, it is a comment line. Remember this point. Okay, now what is the command to execute commands? Okay, to run the commands. Okay, the command name is first update -y. I want to update the server. Then I want to install HTTPD-y. So installing the package, yes. But now is systemctl start HTTPD. So now I want to start the what service. Then systemctl enable HTTPD. Okay, so these are the commands I want to execute. Okay, first I want to update the server, then install HTTPD, then start the service of HTTPD and enable make it persistent. Okay, I want to execute these 4 commands, but these commands will execute by the bash shell. That's why it is called what bash. In case if you write here sh, then what happened? This sh shell will execute these commands. That is the meaning. So even in the environment, many people are writing the first line is the what shebang line. Even people don't know why need to write this line. Generally, based on the cell priority, the people will write it. Okay, in case your voice is IBM X, XP Unix or something like, they will write what KSH, because those operating system maintains KSH cell. Then this KSH cell will execute these commands. But when you write the KSH, then you have to write the commands related to KSH only. But this is the Linux, that's why we are writing the word bash, because the bash will execute these commands. So this is the beauty. So very important point, guys. These are, even the people having 6, 7, 8 years experience, they don't know what is the first line in the user data or in the shell scripts. Even in the shell script or somewhere, the first line meaning is that is. Are you clear, everyone?
Yeah. Yes, sir. And it is used only in Amazon Linux server, right, sir?
No, any Linux, same.
Any Linux.
Any Linux.
Any
Okay.
Linux.
Right.
Right. So now
SH is used for the shell, right, sir?
Right. This is the what cell line.
No, KSH is used for.
That is KSH also one shell. That is the default shell in the what different Unix flavors.
Okay. Okay.
ఇప్పుడు Unix లో మనకి Mac OS ఉంది, IBM X, HP Unix, different cells ఉన్నాయి. So different OSs. Every OS doesn't maintain bash shell as a default. But Linux,
Okay.
the shell name is bash. That's why we are specified bash here.
కరెక్ట్ సార్. ఇప్పుడు ఉబంటు ఉందనుకోండి, ఉబంటుకి ఏమి ఇస్తాము?
Ubuntu కూడా bash, Ubuntu కూడా Linux ఏ కదా.
అచ్చా, ఆల్ లైనక్స్ ఫ్లేవర్స్.
Yeah, all
Uses
Linux we are
bash.
use bash or sh. sh కూడా వాడతారు చాలా మంది. sh కూడా వాడచ్చు. sh or bash.
So both are same.
Both are same because SSL advanced shell is bash shell. Right. Now launch instances. So now this instance is what? Directly running with web server commands. Even no need to give any external inputs. I mean, no need to connect and again run the commands yum update, yum install, systemctl like this commands.
Sir, are this command only limited to like the installation part, or we can execute all the other commands too?
Anytime, based on your requirement, you will go for it.
Okay, sir. Right. Got it. Thank you.
Right. So now this is my web server. So in the web server, public IP address, just copy the word public IP address and paste in the web browser. You will be able to see the message that test page. Yes, the test page has been loaded. So now the backend web server is perfect. Means your bootstrap commands are correct. But any mistakes are happened, maybe the commands are wrong. Maybe your user data is not correct. Okay, see this, my web server is loaded means yum update is success, yum install HTTP success, and start the service also success. Otherwise the page has not been loaded. Right. So now the second requirement. So generally this is the process, but I will tell you more things in case the page has not been loaded. I mean something went wrong in the user data. Maybe commands are wrong. Maybe the page has not been loaded. Then what to do? How to check the what user data and what kind of things you are applying in the bootstrapping? How do you do that? So now go for select the web server in the accents instance settings. Select here edit user data. So edit user data. So what you are applied, see this has been bash, installing Apache HTTP server, yum update and yum install HTTP. But any mistakes are happen, you want to modify again start the service, then here is the what warning message. To edit your instances user data, you first need to stop your instance. This is also entering question. So now what is the things you want to edit this user data? Then first to stop the instance and again come to this location and edit option is highlighted. Then edit it and save it. Again start the instance. Then the new things will happen. Are you clear?
Okay. Yes, sir.
Good.
Yes,
So
sir.
now this is the what user data option. Generally, this user data, how to check through command line. So this is also important in the real time. So the repeated entry question, how to check the user data through command line. For example, I will tell you the best example in the environment. What is that? So I haven't created one instance. Even I applied the what bootstrapping of the web server or something, some commands. Maybe Lakshmikant is the what end user. He have been connected to what my Linux server. So I'm telling Mr. Lakshmikant, so just I applied the word bootstrapping, but something is mistake. Then please verify the what your user data. What I applied, just you check it. Then how can you check it? But you don't have any AWS console access. But your access is only instance through command line. Got my point?
Sir, could you please repeat?
Yeah, I understand, sir. Please.
We don't have any AWS console access. But what user data is applied? How do you find it? With help of the PuTTY connection. Okay, so first, what is the requirement? Connect your instance. So now this is the instance and connect it first. Connect instance. I think what they're asking, what is the command to verify user data? So command or user data ni ela kanukuntam. That is the question. So you will verify the what user data through management console means select instance, actions, and the instance settings, edit user data option is there. But the same data, how to check through command line? That is my question. How to check user data through command line? సో ఇక్కడ నుండి మనం ఏం అప్లై చేసామో తెలియాలి. ఇన్స్టాన్స్ లో యూజర్ డేటా ఏం అప్లై చేసామో మనం చెక్ చేయాలి. Got my point now?
Yeah, sir. So we'll connect to the instance and execute some command, right?
So now curly space http curly space http :/ this is the common IP address for everything. 169.254.169.254/user-data. So this is the command to check the what user data. Then so now these are the commands you have been applied. Got the output?
Sir, one more doubt. It will display all the Linux commands we execute in an instance.
Question clear గా లేదు.
సార్ అంటే ఇప్పుడు మనం యూజర్ డేటా అని చెప్పేసి వెల్ వి క్రియేట్ ఇన్స్టెన్స్ అక్కడ చూసిన కమాండ్స్ కదా సార్ ఇవి.
అవును, ఆ కమాండ్స్ ని కమాండ్స్ ద్వారా ఎలా కనుక్కుంటావు అని అడిగాను.
ఓకే సార్, నా డౌట్ ఏంటంటే మనం ఇప్పుడు ఇన్స్టాన్స్ లో పర్టికులర్ ఇక్కడికి వచ్చేసి వి ఎగ్జిక్యూట్ అదర్ కమాండ్స్ అవి కూడా ఇక్కడ చూడొచ్చా?
ఏ అదర్ కమాండ్స్ ఎగ్జిక్యూట్ చేసావు నువ్వు? బూట్ స్ట్రాప్ లో ఏం అప్లై చేసావో అవే చెక్ చేయమని చెప్తున్నా.
ఓకే సార్, గాట్ ఇట్. థాంక్యూ.
కరెక్ట్ వినాలి నువ్వు, సంతోష్.
షూర్ సార్.
రైట్. సో నౌ curl http 169.254.169.254/latest/user data. So this is the command. This is the common IP address for everyone. Don't ask me again. So this is the common IP address for everyone. So even you want to verify the user data, this is the complete command for everyone, not only for me. Everyone we can use the what same command. That's why it is what common address for every instance. Then next important thing, see, so that is called what curl http 169.254.169.254/latest/user data. And last one is what is metadata or user data. So what is metadata? Metadata is data about your instance that you can use to configure or manage the running instance. Or retrieving instance metadata same. So here same IP address, but instead of user data, metadata. But what is meant by metadata? Metadata is nothing but collection of instance details. Metadata is data about your instance. So so how do you know the instance details? So generally you can check the instance and what the details, you will get the details. So instance ID, what is the IP address of the instance, what is the instance type, what is the key pair name of the instance, and this is the t2.micro. Like that you can verify easily through management console. The same details, how can you check it? Through command line. So these details, how to check the what command line, that is called what metadata. Metadata about your instance data. So that's why it is a collection of instance details. So now how to check it the what metadata? So same from the instance, same command, instead of user data you will check it the what metadata. Then these are the what metadata details. Now I want to verify that what is the instance ID for this this metadata. So now I want to get the what instance ID. So this is the what instance ID for this instance. See that 447F95. What is the instance ID? 447F95. Okay, I want to check it. What is this instance type. This is the what instance type. So now I will remove the instance ID, then I will check it the what instance type. And what is the instance type? T2.micro. Check it that the same instance type is T2.micro or not. Right, instance type is T2.micro. So like that, you want to check the what instance details through command line. You can use like this. And what is the key pair? What key pair you applied, and that key pair contains which data? How do you know? That is called sensitive data, is nothing but dynamic data. So dynamic data includes an instance identity documenter. So that is called what? Key pair like details. So how to check the dynamic data? See the same IP address, same latest, and instead of user data, metadata, dynamic. Now we are checking the dynamic. So now the same IP address, I will use the one dynamic. So now instance identity data I want it. Now instance identity data. Then what is the your key pair details? Then this is our key pair information like this. This is the public data. Okay. So remember this command. This command for user data, metadata, dynamic data. And then finally, the one more important point. And sometimes the important thing is what is EC2 service quotas. I mean, it is called what limits. Okay, sometimes this is also very important. So people are panic sometimes. Maybe you are sometimes you are getting an error. What is the error? For example, we are trying to launch the what instance. The error is your quota is already exceeded. Please contact your system administrator, because your account supports to create only 20 instances, but already 20 instances are running in your account. But one day your requirement is to launch another instance, but we are trying to launch the 21 instance, but you don't know what are the instances running in your account. Already it's 20 running, but 21 you are trying to launch, but every time it is getting an error and your limit is exceeded. Please contact your system administrator. But you forget to like, even some people are not reading the what error, and directly again you can cancel and recreate the what instances. Then you can create number of times, you will get the what same error. The quota is exceeded. Please contact your system administrator. Then how to increase your limits? That is my point. For example, so you have 5 elastic IP addresses. Your limit is 5 elastic IP address. Okay, already you have been created 5 elastic IP addresses in your account, but you are trying to create the what 6th one, but your quota is already exceeded. Then how can you expand? How can you extend your limit? That is called what? Service quotas, service limits. So how to check it the what service limits? Here, see, the option is limits. In the limits, just observe. So your account is eligible for auto scaling groups 500. Your account is eligible for launching configuration 200. Okay, like that. I want elastic. See this. So EC2 elastic IPs. So just now we have been created elastic IPs. What is the current limit of my account? So I'm eligible for creating 5 elastic IP addresses, but already I have 5 elastic IP addresses in my account, but we cannot create the 6th one elastic IP address. Then what to do? How to expand your limit? Then select elastic IP, which one you want. Select that service, I mean limit, and here request limit increase option. Then once you click in request limit increase, then that request goes to your AWS support team. Then the support team will contact you within 24 hours or 48 hours. So we got a request from your account for increasing your limitation. Then how many elastic IPs you want? So I need 10 elastic IP addresses. then they will expand the what limitation from 5 to 10. But for increasing limitation, they will not charge. But when will you launch the new resources, then they will charge it. But by default, every account has some limitations. You want to increase limitations for launching instances, creating VPCs, creating Elastic APIs, launching network interfaces, or launching TT.micro instances. Everything is some limit. But any limit you want to expand, the process is like. But for increasing limitation, they will not charge. Only when we launch it, then only they will charge it. Are you clear, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Right. So don't panic while launching instance. Please read the errors. So because many instances are already running in your account. So while launching instance or creating any resource, you got any error like limits exceed error, then come to here, then verify your limits, then how many running in the backend, and check it what is your current limitation, and then the equivalent to your current limitation, then better to go forward, request limit increase option. That is my point. Right, friends?
But we cannot go beyond 20, right, sir?
Yeah, you can possible beyond 20 also, 30 also, 50 also.
Acha, okay.
Everything is possible, 100 also possible, because based on requirement. సార్ మీ క్రెడిట్ కార్డు బిల్లు మీ క్రెడిట్ కార్డు లిమిటేషన్ ఎంత సార్? లక్ష అనుకోండి, మీరు వాడేస్తున్నారంటే వాళ్ళు ఏం చేస్తారు? లక్ష కంటే ఎక్స్ట్రా ఇవ్వమంటారా, ఇస్తామంటారా? సేమ్ వే, వాళ్ళకి మనీ కావాలి, మీకు రిసోర్స్ కావాలి. ఓకే
ఓకే సార్.
రైట్. సో బై డిఫాల్ట్ లిమిట్స్, ఆ లిమిట్స్ ని మనం క్రాస్ చేయాలంటే దిస్ ఈస్ ద ప్రాసెస్.
Yes, sir. Got it.
I think everyone clear what is the concept of today. Everything
Yes,
is
sir.
very important, guys. Today concept: Elastic IP, network interfaces, security groups, and like bootstrapping and verifying user data. These are all are excellent concepts.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Send over.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.